We got a show tonight with the Vice Chair of the Anderson County Commission, who has got to be the most prepared person I've ever worked with. I've got charts and charts and charts, so it'll make for a quick show, which is good because I want to see the Titans play the Steelers tonight at 8:15. So our families, I lived in Pittsburgh for 12 years, loved the Steelers, but I've become a Titan fan because my son's a huge Titan fan, and I know a lot of guys, just know a lot of Steeler players and different things, so it'll be fun to watch at the house tonight. How's Keith? How's your husband?
He's doing great.
Yeah. What's he in Indianapolis? Going to colleges?
He actually is in Indianapolis at the FFA National Convention.
Oh.
Our daughter was on the food science team for the
Yeah.
Anderson County.
She is smart, that kid. I remember.
She
met her when
is.
was- And your other daughter's still at
Wofford.
sophomore now?
She is a sophomore
So she
at
got through
Wofford.
all the jingle, all the, the jitters.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, it's
She
great.
did.
Great to have you on the show. Lot to talk about. Tell us a little bit about your background first. You're from Andersonville. I've known you for a couple of years. What can you tell us? What'd you grow up doing? How'd you get interested in this? I know you work at Eisen,
I do.
automotive factory, and you're a manager, business type stuff, and analytics in county. So tell us a little bit. Only child?
No, I'm not an only child.
How
I'm
many?
actually the oldest of 7 children.
7 children. You're
yes,
the oldest.
I'm the oldest.
Wow.
There's
How
six.
old's the youngest?
The youngest one is 18 years younger than me.
Wow.
I'll just say it that way.
Makes him 2, right? All right, I got you on that. Okay, so he's 18 years, so it spreads out. Okay.
Yes, there's
That's
6 girls and 1 boy.
Well, where's the boy? I know the boy lives up there with you. We talked about him, but
Yes,
where-
my brother is in the exact middle. He has 3 older.
so he'd be number 4.
Number 4, yes.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It
Isn't
is.
that interesting?
It is. So I grew up in the Fairview community out in
I know
Anderson.
Fairview.
Yes, went to
Then you
Fairview.
moved to the big city of Andersonville.
I actually live in Glen Alpine now, or behind in Glen Alpine subdivision.
Where do you
but,
vote?
I vote in the Glen Alpine
Yeah.
district at
Okay.
Anderson County High School.
If y'all don't know, there's the whole area is just booming up there. They've expanded in
Absolutely.
Andersonville. I think, obviously I know these things for a living, but Andersonville is the 3rd or 4th biggest voting precinct.
Yes.
And
yes.
Oak Ridge has nobody represented except Emory Valley still runs in the top
Yes,
6 or
yes.
7.
In the county commission election, 1/3 of the people who voted in the 3rd district.
Isn't that something? I remember
Yes.
that, yeah. And then Victoria ran and Matt.
Exactly.
That's
And I think
exactly-
that helped boost that area.
Oh, yeah. We knew that was coming. That was a great area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you grew up there. You went to school?
I did. I went to Fairview, and then I went to Norris Middle School and on
Okay.
to Anderson County, and
Okay.
kind of finished up college at Pellissippi State.
Pellissippi?
I
Good
did,
school. Good
did.
school. Okay, I was thinking about it.
Earned 2 degrees there, one in mechanical engineering technology in the quality concentration, and one in mechanical engineering. So
Tell us what Eisen is. Japanese company, right?
Japanese company. I've
Because
worked
we always
there.
go back and forth with the Korean and the Japanese
Yes,
companies out
yes.
there. But I know now because Senator Haggerty, who speaks fluent Japanese, visited there and he could converse. They don't get a chance to converse in fluent Japanese.
He
with
was
many
just there
Americans.
a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was able to see him.
Okay.
So that was exciting. It was
Yeah.
a very exciting thing for
Great
our,
guy. I enjoyed
plant.
helping him back when the time came.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So I've worked there for almost 19 years.
Wow.
Yes, started out there as
At
a
8-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, at 8 years old, yes. So I started out there as a quality engineer, and then moved into the management. So I moved over to quality control as a manager.
Does it take
there.
a certain, when I was doing electronics in the 80s, which is obviously 40 years ago, we went to the Silicon Valley a lot in California, and certain people were really good at assembly and different things. We learned from the contractors there in those days that certain people could do better work at certain jobs, et cetera, et cetera. What do you do at Eisen, and is it hard to get employees?
Right now, there is a little bit of an employment issue with
How many work there?
we have approximately 825
Gosh, I would have guessed 300 or 400.
employees. Yes.
825 at Eisen in what we call Eisen. Clinton?
Clinton.
Okay.
It is in Clinton.
That's really in the industrial park out.
Yes,
right,
the
okay.
industrial park across from the hospital, Anderson County High
Yeah,
School,
yeah,
the I-75 industrial park.
850 people. And what do you do? In a one paragraph summary mission statement, what do you produce?
We are an automotive component supplier. We're
Okay.
actually
Supply components for cars, and who are your main customers?
Toyota is our main customer. We do some work for Nissan. We're actually the 5th largest automotive component maker in the world. So we make water pumps, oil
So
pumps.
Wyson has other places, obviously.
Yes. We make water pumps, oil pumps, fan brackets.
And what was the purpose in opening here besides the interstate and being centralized in the country? Spring Hill, did you have some places that you shipped to close?
So yes, Toyota was opening some new plants in Texas and
Oh, okay.
Alabama and Mississippi, and our sister plant is in London, Kentucky.
Okay.
So we were able to use some of the resources from the London, Kentucky plant and start a new plant here, and then open up our employment base.
That's amazing. 850. How many shifts do you run a day?
We run 2 shifts for manufacturing, 2 12-hour shifts, but in some of our support departments, maintenance, dye maintenance, we run 3 shifts.
Depending on what you do.
Yes.
Is it? I don't mean to violate any business sensitivities. What parts do y'all make? What kind of parts?
We make water pumps and oil pumps, pistons, fan brackets, cylinder head covers.
Thousands and thousands of them.
Thousands and thousands, millions, millions a year.
And you basically are a data person that keeps track of.
I'm actually the
Production.
quality control. I'm the
Okay.
quality control manager.
Make sure it pumps
so
oil and water out.
We
right?
we do all kinds of function testing, of course. Then we do surface.
What's an
finishes.
acceptable failure rate in something like that?
Oh well, you don't want any. You
understand.
don't want any failures.
Yeah, but how many do you have to pull out of the pile and say, nope?
Honestly, with the Japanese company, the first failure is a stop. We call it a stop, call, wait, and we stop the production, find out
Figure out what's wrong.
figure out what's wrong, sort what is suspect.
Yeah, I hear they're excellent, excellent quality control. I know some Japanese executives, and my father worked in the nuclear industry and did a little work with Japan, but I read them all out of the books in graduate school about their philosophies of business, and I can't remember what was it? Well, I can't remember right now. I'm getting too old, but very impressive management skills. All right, so you've been there. That's pretty much.
Yes.
We don't need to go into all the other places you've been because you've been there your
That's
career.
it.
They must like you a lot, right?
Yes.
Do you get along with them? Great. You
I do. I really.
And the
really,
CEO or the plant manager, whoever Ison puts in charge of our Quentin facility, is that person been there a long time, or do they rotate a lot?
They rotate. Our president right now is Mr. Hikashitani, and he has been with us a couple of years. So normally they rotate.
But in the
through
19 years,
every-
you've had 5 or 6 different.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So I knew Eagle Bend did some work for some supply plants, and they rotated people in and out too.
Yes.
I was helping with that kind of stuff. All right. No tax increase again this year, so y'all did a good job on that. So everybody in Interstate did not get a tax increase.
Yes.
Maybe we ought to stop and say what the difference is between a tax increase and a reappraisal.
Oh.
So if you get your reappraisal done, I think it's next year or just got done, one or the other.
So there's some talk at the state level of moving those reappraisals to every 2 to 3 years as opposed to every 10 years. How we doing?
Yeah,
now.
I think it benefits. John Elliott, who does a good job, was telling us about how that works and how that functions.
Yes.
And it has to do with the cycle and how they can evaluate it. So what it boils down to is if your house is worth $100,000, and in the last 3 years you found out it was worth $200,000, just the way the market's
Yes.
going, everybody's experienced that. The good news is you now have $100,000 more in savings or equity. The bad news is you got to pay taxes on the $200,000, not the $100,000. So when you pay them, when your taxes double or go up 50% or 40%, remember you have something that's worth a lot more, and that's why you have to pay higher taxes on it.
Yes.
So was taxing with all the money in the, of course you don't want to use your reserve balance
No.
to fund stuff. Occasional stopgaps, you have an emergency or something,
Yes.
but you've got to have enough tax revenue to pay for the budget to balance it out, or you're going to need a tax increase.
Exactly.
But yeah, you were able to do some things. I mean, I was looking at the list that I know a lot of these, but you provided. I appreciate that. You were able to give a 7% raise to everyone but the sheriff's department, who got a little bit more.
Right. Exactly.
And let me tell people this. We've had people on from other areas. If you don't, sheriff's departments are having trouble keeping employees.
They are. They
And
are.
you did a good job of management, and I give credit to Sheriff Barker, too. I think you gave
Absolutely.
13 or 14%. A lot of counties had to give 30 and 25, a lot of rural counties, because they can't hire anybody. There's a billboard going into Chattanooga, Shelley, it says $5,000 bonus for signing up as a jailer, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
It's just hard to keep people.
It is very hard to keep people.
Okay, so what other accomplishments did you get done this year that you were proud of?
So in the sheriff's department, it was about $1.4 million we were able to put into their budget so they could give raises to hire people, also merit increases and longevity pay.
Yeah, and
to
they have
keep-
like 200 employees now, counting
Yes.
jailers and everybody.
Yes.
Yes, It's a
Yes,
lot.
yes.
Sounds like a lot of money, but it goes fast.
Another thing that we were able to do was put a 5% raise in for Board of Education employees, the school system. So they got a 5% raise, but also the certified skill employees got a $1,000 bonus.
So define what that is, $1,000 bonus to sign you to the
It's just a
certified-
one-time.
Who's a certified
and-
worker?
And,
Scale, like a teacher would not be a certified worker,
no.
correct?
Right.
Well, I get confused. Certified or classified?
Classified.
Yeah, I think certified is the teachers, maybe.
Yes, certified teachers. I'm
Maybe
sorry.
classified.
Classified is the
5% for all the rest
Yes,
employees.
yes,
So if you work,
yes.
you have a classified and a certified. If you're a certified teacher, you get a bonus. Classified, that's the cafeteria workers
Yes, yes.
or maintenance or stuff like that. So both sides got a raise though with
Yes,
this thing. All right.
yes.
Well, that's good. What do you want to talk about? Tell us what committees you're on. Go through it a little bit.
Well, I am on the budget committee.
Okay.
So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that process that we went through earlier this year. So we sent out surveys to each one of the departments and asked for a no increase budget to be returned. Some departments were able to do that. Some were not. And if they weren't, then they came in front of us during one of our workshops, explained what they needed, why they needed it, and then from there we tried to move the money to see where we
It's
could.
a lot easier to fund a one-time request
It is.
than to
It
fund a
is.
reoccurring request. That's what when I worked with the government, it's hard for them to understand that sometimes.
And we did have some ARP money, so American Recovery Plan money, but
But that's not a reoccurring.
that is not recurring. That's
What I mean
one
by that,
time.
folks, is if you got $1 million in the bank and you give somebody $100,000 for 5 new employees, you got to come up with that $100,000
Exactly.
every
Every year.
single year. That's a reoccurring expense. Whereas a fixed expense, if you need a new air conditioning system that costs $100,000, one time paid for.
Exactly.
And that there's different kinds of things that work for that. How do we stack up to other counties before we go to break? What would you say? Let me take a look at your stats. Go ahead. You've been to these training seminars. Are we in line with everybody else?
We are. We actually just had a strategic planning workshop a couple Fridays ago where we looked at where we are in relation to other counties in our area. Our tax rate is among one of the higher tax rates, but we also do not have a wheel tax here. So
Yeah, wheel taxes are tough.
Yeah.
Because people get upset because what wheel tax is, when you go to register your vehicle, you pay $25 or $35
Yes.
or $45 every year to own that vehicle and live in Anderson County or whatever. Big cities usually have them, smaller counties
Okay,
usually don't.
don't.
But they produce a lot of income. There's been other ideas of how to produce income, but right now we're in pretty good shape because
We are.
we've got, we have a lot of income coming. We have some growth.
We have a
Andersonville,
lot of
a lot
growth in
people
Andersonville. Yes.
And West Oak Ridge, the preserve, they've gone
Mm-hmm.
from 400 homes to like 800 or 900 homes in 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of friends. It's a big thing. You're talking about politics in Roane County. If you don't get to the preserve where there's 900 homes, you miss a 10 to 15% of the entire voting base. And
Yes.
it's kind of a secret up on that hill
Yes.
if you don't go by there and if you've never driven in there. I mean, when it was Verity Ridge, whatever it used to be, there
Right.
just wasn't those kind of homes in there, but there are now. So that's a big gauge in Oak Ridge's growth and what else is going on. Tell me, and we'll go to break here. We're behind. Tell me, in budget, did you do any long-term capital forecasting?
We did some, and we were really looking at schools, of course, with the new school that's going to be built in Claxton. and
Claxton's
how
getting
to-
an elementary school.
Yes, and how to fund that. The property has already been purchased.
Across the street.
And yes, across the street from the current school. And also, just capital purchases for EMS and also for our EMS communications.
When we
Emergency
come back, we're going to
communications.
talk about EMS a little bit for
Okay.
5 minutes because it's been an area of controversy for years. And Rex Lynch was one of the most expert people in that area. He knew a lot about ambulances. He managed it. He worked with the state, and he's had a lot of input. And they transferred over from to their own fund in that time, so they would be more self-sufficient. We'll talk about that. Okay, let's go to break, Chandler. Thank you for watching.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. I want to thank my 2 anchor sponsors who do so much for the show. One is Daniel Forrester, attorney running for Chancellor, and Sean Gleason, who is the president of IB3, does so much global work and so much work for our nuclear sector, and we're proud to have those 2 as anchor sponsors. Let's talk a little bit about, I really want to save opioid trust funds and opioid because it's such a challenge till later. Let's go ahead and look generally at overall AARP stuff that you've done. What is AARP? That's Obama funds, right?
Those are Biden funds. They're the
they're Biden funds.
Yeah, the American Recovery Plan. Yes.
Okay, it's American. It's still going on. Okay. Still handing stuff out. Okay, didn't know that.
Well, we in Anderson County, we did get funds for the.
You got $14 million. When was that? I mean, was that a long time ago?
That was yes. That was
okay. That was the
after
original
COVID.
amount.
Yes,
right, I got
yes.
it. And you've spent $12,139,000 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And did Sabre spend all that money or just part of that money?
She probably didn't spend a penny of that
money.
money.
No, I know her. She gave money to everybody. Okay. Talk to me after Christmas. Talk about my wife, who's a fellow county commissioner, a good friend of Shelley Vandergrift's. All right, so she didn't allocate all that money, but I saw $12 million disappeared. Mm-hmm. And this is a list of where all that money, the Biden economy or whoever, Obama, whoever, this is where it's the remaining allocation is $2.8 million of the original. So taxpayers in Anderson County want to know where the $12.1 million go. And some of these are in progress and some are complete. So what has been completed?
So a few things that we were able to do is that they did give retention payments to some of the county employees, especially those who worked during the COVID time. And
I like the broadband funds. It's not a lot of money, but I do like that.
yes, we actually gave 2 broadband grants. One of those went to Highlands Communication.
Is that they run up New River area?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's my people's.
And then also to Comcast, we gave
Okay.
$200,000 to
EMS
that.
budget fund balance adjustment for workers, $280,000.
Yes.
Okay, that's total expended to date. Okay. And whole body scanner for jail. I got that.
Yes.
I understand
Yes.
that's capital. Some AV technology for the commission room downstairs. Family Justice Center used $175,000 to help them purchase that building.
Building,
Correct?
yes.
Okay. And did that purchase the whole building, or they still have money they have to pay on?
I believe that purchased the whole
Whole
building.
building. All right, I can see that. I know that it was originally owned by ORNL Federal Credit Union, I think, and they've been very generous to them. Oak Ridge Fire Department Training Center, $273,000. That was for the tower.
The tower.
All right.
And I was actually able to go and go to the grand opening of that, and it
Did
was
you get to
very,
go
very
rappel off
interesting.
the tower?
I did not rappel
was
off
checking.
the tower, but
I
I
was
did.
checking.
I did go and tour
Repair the chimes on top of the courthouse.
on top of the
You know,
courthouse.
I tried to get that done 15 years ago, and I think we had to get somebody from Kentucky come do it or somewhere.
I'm not sure who did it, but it sounds so good. I was
Does it sound so much
actually in
better?
downtown Clinton one day this
AV
this week.
technology for the commission room, room 312. Does it
Yes.
work?
It does.
Okay.
It does work. We were in need of some new monitors.
EMS budget fund balance adjustment, $516,000. All right, so they've gotten, they got budget adjustments up here of $280. Now they're getting budget adjustments down here for FY24 of $516,000. Why do we give them $516,000 for their money in 2024 out of the ARP?
That was to balance the.
They're operating at a
their
deficit.
Their
They're
operating
operating at a
balance, yes.
deficit of $516,000. Okay, just being fair. Tennessee Emergency, I mean, you get on the sheriff's department, everybody complains about this or that, but the ambulance runs under the corner. That's okay. We'll come back to that. Broadcast fund grants for Comcast, I get that. You give them a one-time deal. Stormwater systems and outfall. All right, that's $103,000. County pave. Look at Gary Long got $2 million. What's that about? So that was to pave roads in Anderson County.
Yes, yes.
Countywide assessment for water and sewer planning, $92,000. Claxton sewer line study, $30,000. Witness room archives relocation, $1 million.
Yes.
Explain that.
Yes. So that was some renovation that was done at the courthouse.
Where?
In the
What for? Third.
third. Sorry.
So over there where Susie Harris used to be in the old days,
Yes.
they had all that stuff. They renovated that.
Yes, renovated that.
So what is it now?
So they moved the archives, which is where we keep the county
Yes.
records, and
they
then
move it
also second floor.
Okay.
And then they also upgraded the witness rooms.
Yeah. What did they
and
put where the archives were?
They moved the witness rooms there.
Oh, that's where the
yes,
witness
yes,
was. Yeah,
yes,
that would be
yes.
the only place to have anything. Okay. So it took $1 million to restructure that.
Yes.
And then we had something else going on what floor? They moved
The
them downstairs?
second floor,
Okay.
yes.
Down behind Jeff Cole's
Yes,
office?
yes.
Okay. I've seen that part of it. We gave $664 to senior kitchen improvements.
That was at the senior citizen center.
Yeah.
Right there at.
Now, Sarah was active in that.
Yes.
Remember,
yes,
she wanted to give them all the money. She said, let's go ahead and give them what they
yes,
need.
no, she did do
She
that.
was big on senior center.
She
Yeah,
did.
we'll give her
She
that
did.
one, right?
Yes,
Sheriff's
does a good
vehicles
job
for
there.
2 years, $900,000. I get that. EMS stretchers, $398,000.
Yes.
Let's see, that puts them over $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Fire
were-
department rescue squad equipment, $550,000.
Yes, we just funded that.
have a fire department?
And we do not have a county fire department, so those are for the volunteer fire departments.
Rescue squads,
And the
okay.
rescue squad. And that was they submitted proposals on equipment that they desperately needed,
Mm-hmm.
some radios, air packs.
So, folks, the federal tax dollars get paid the allocation during the Obama time for COVID and for the Biden time comes back to us in a total amount of $14.9 million, and this is what our commissioners are spending it on, which seems pretty reasonable so far. Jail medical services, $250,000.
That was actually to go towards hiring a on-site mental health
I remember that.
professional.
Did they get that done, or did they not get that done?
I'm not sure if
That's
that's
some
completed
controversy
or
on
not.
EMS AEDs, another $275 for the ambulance. What's that AED?
The AEDs, the defibrillators.
Okay, it makes
automated
sense.
defibrillators.
Nothing wrong with buying defibrillators.
Yes.
Claxton area repeater. That's small. That's not much money. $13,000.
That was to help and aid in the communication for the
Dental clinic
EMS.
redesign. Was that DARC? Was that down in Oak Ridge?
No, this was actually the facility in Clinton,
Where?
at the health department.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Over on the road to Lexington.
Yes.
So they redesigned that, and then that's good. $500,000 for that.
And that was really important because with
That's
the expansion.
pending, though. That's what I was looking at. These are pending.
Yeah,
You haven't approved them yet.
with
I
the
guess.
expansion of teen care and the adult dental, we needed to.
Very interesting. So your
Yes.
money's going to federal money that you pay taxes on. It's going to some decent places, I think. That's where that $33 trillion in debt comes around, folks. Well, at least we're getting a small portion of it back in that sense. So that's a good thing. You have okay. Let's start talking about opioid funds. And give me a background of where it all comes from.
So the opioid funds come from a lawsuit that was that several states signed on to over the opioid addiction problem.
They're suing pharmaceutical companies?
Big pharma, for basically defrauding people and saying that these were not addictive when they were. And Purdue Pharma basically said it wasn't addictive, and it was. And so it's become a huge issue all across America, but especially kind of in the Appalachian area. There's been a couple of Netflix and Hulu documentaries on that, and of course I'm sure the.
Now, are we talking about any specific drugs in this thing? I mean, fentanyl's the big one, but
well, opioids.
The whole classification.
Yes, the whole classification.
Drug class. I got you.
Yes, and. There's an estimate that approximately 8% of all Tennesseans have some sort of drug dependency. So it's
chemical dependency.
Chemical
Not
dependency.
smoking marijuana or drinking beer.
Chemical
okay,
dependency.
not that those couldn't be addicting, but you're talking about something more serious.
Yes,
than that.
something more serious. And of course, I'm sure every family has some story or has been.
Alcoholism might be in there.
Has been affected by that. My family personally has been affected by the opioid addiction and domestic violence. So I've lost a sister to that back in December.
Sorry about that.
So that's kind of how it came around. There were several states who went together and sued Purdue Pharma. And
when you say Purdue Pharma, what's Purdue mean?
Purdue is the name of the company.
Okay, so one company.
OxyContin, basically.
Oh, they made all the oxys.
They came up with OxyContin.
So this is a suit against a single company. All
yes,
right.
But since then the suit has expanded. It's expanded out to Johnson & Johnson.
Sure.
Anybody that's producing it, and actually has now even filtered down to some of the pharmacies. Food City just settled a lawsuit maybe a couple weeks ago, so we'll start seeing some money from that. Walmart settled a suit.
So we have an ongoing
Walgreens.
fund. This fund, you got a big settlement in the front.
Absolutely.
That 14 million, whatever what was that number?
79 million, or actually Tennessee got about 108 million altogether so far.
And how much? And we got like 4 or 5 million of that.
We got in Anderson County, we got approximately 850,000 so far. There'll be other.
Oh yeah, it's Memphis and those places, Nashville.
Yes, but interestingly enough, with that kind of Shelby County, Davidson County, they're getting about 10% of those. 31 million is what actually went to the counties out of that 108 million. Okay. So 31 million approximately went to the counties already, and so Shelby County, of course, Davidson County, Hamilton County, they got in the neighborhood of about 9 to 12% of that each. But Anderson County got 1.3% of that, and for a county our size,
That's more
was
more than me.
amazing. It was actually sad because what they did is they based that on the number of overdoses that you'd had. The number of Narcan events that you'd had.
Yep.
So there was a lot of how many thefts and criminal activity. How much criminal activity could you attribute to directly to opioid and opioid abuse? So that we got 1.3% of that, which was approximately $850,000, $900,000, was really. It's sad, but it's an opportunity for us to take that money and do some education and do some good with that.
I agree. Chandler, let's go to break, and we'll come right back in 3 minutes. Thank you.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference. So we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're talking with Shelley Vandergrift, the co-chair of the Anderson County Commission, and is on the opioid. Are you the chairman of that task force?
Chairman of that task
You're
force.
on the Anderson County. So we have a situation where $100 million came in. Anderson County is going to get about $1.2 million that we can tell, and then there'll be a revolving amount. So we've gotten $850,000 so far. Next year we're budgeting $430,000, and then 25 will be $192,000, and then it'll come down to a smaller number and all around. Of the $850,000 we've gotten, only $200,000 of that's been spent.
Yes.
And it's been spent for the EMS to have more ambulances for another station.
Yes, another station to help
Operate.
fund and operate that station in Claxton.
Interesting. Claxton's gotten pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It has been.
so that's where it's at. So what else has that money been used? It's not been used. Where are we targeting that money?
So what we would like to do with the task force is have some community input on what the community feels like is the issues. So we actually are going to have a meeting in Rocky Top at Main Street Church next Thursday, November 9th, starting at 6:30 to get community input on how they feel these should be spent. We'll also have some meetings after the first of the year in Clinton and also in Oak Ridge to get the community input. But there are some stipulations that we have to use the money for certain things. Some part of the funds can be used.
Now, there's two different funds, according to my judicial
Yes.
friends in other cities.
Yes.
They've said you got a larger draw, which is community.
Yes.
Then you've got some specific things.
Yes.
When you look, well, I see 15% sent direct local governments, 70% opioid abatement trust fund.
So
I don't understand how that breaks
yes,
down.
so right off the bat, when we got the $105 million,
State of Tennessee.
state of Tennessee, 108 million, 15% of that automatically went out to the
Local.
counties, the
Okay.
local counties. So
Okay.
that's where we got part of our 850,000.
Right.
Then another 15% went into an opioid abatement fund with the state, and the state is using those funds to administer the distribution of funds, and then 70% of that of those funds went into another kind of bucket, I guess, and 35% of that will be distributed out to the local governments.
And that's where you get your $1 million.
Yeah, to reimburse basically the local governments for things like ambulance service, where when someone has an event or an overdose, and we're going out and administering Narcan, and then the 65% will be used for community grants. So
And who administers community grants in Anderson County?
So the community grants are actually administered through the state.
That's what I
That's
thought.
part of that 15% that they kept, was to administer those grants. And so those are community groups that can be
So
nonprofit or
like a
for-profit.
counseling center would apply to the state for some of that
Absolutely.
money.
So September 1st, the grant portal opened. It was only open for 5 weeks, and it closed on October 9th. The opioid abatement council, the state council, is reviewing those proposals, and then they will allocate funds for those proposals.
So that has nothing to do with your budget.
Absolutely
Your
nothing to do
budget's
with our
in the
budget.
35% to local government.
Yes, energy upgrades with the lights, and so the schools are in pretty good shape. Of course, the new school in Claxton, the real very, very needed new school in Claxton.
I want to brag on the county superintendent of schools. I just think he's frugal.
Absolutely.
He doesn't ask for more than he needs. He tries, and when he needs it, he comes and gets it.
Absolutely.
But, there's, a lot of people want to stretch it. He understands. He's basically a fiscal conservative, but he has a job to do, and he runs it. And
Yes.
Dr. Parrish done a great job.
He has done a great job.
And Claxton's long overdue. They need a school.
And bringing those CTE classes, those career technical classes, to the county has been great.
Yeah, and Larry
too.
Foster deserves some credit on that. He
Absolutely,
worked
he
in there,
did.
and Larry
He
did a
did.
great job with that.
He
And
did.
and just it's a continuation. I mean, I know people that graduate from UT and go out here and get a job, and they're in professional services, and they start out at 38, 42,000, like most people do. And then the welder comes out of the cat classes, and
Absolutely.
he's making 70 an hour working
Absolutely.
on the weekends. Freck. So we need technical careers to keep America strong,
Yes.
don't we? Yeah.
Yes, we do. We really do need those technical careers, those industrial maintenance. That's a program that really we need to make some investment in. TCAT in Jacksboro, I sat on one of the advisory committees for
Great.
them, and so that industrial maintenance is something that's needed in this area.
Okay, I'm going to make one of my last comments that I always argue before, and this is for us Oak Ridgers. We provide 55% of the revenue, and what do we get for it? A jail, a few other things. I like to see some of the grant money and some of the other money find its way into Oak Ridge, and the Oak Ridge Commissioners work to get more funding for Oak Ridge, because they don't get anything the way it is. And they choose to have a city. I'm not arguing over the double taxation we pay for city and county. That's fine. I chose that. But when the county gets money and you get a distribution, you say, well, we're sending 400. There's no limit on where you can send money. So I would like to see businesses and or social services that operate in Oak Ridge to get some more help. I don't even know specifically what. I just know geographically they never got a lot. I mean, the eyes were really strictly on, and there's a lot more need in the county in a lot of ways. And there are some different services. Our nonprofits in Oak Ridge do an outstanding job.
Yes.
Outstanding job. And if it's getting to be Christmas time almost, think of the free medical clinic,
Absolutely.
Think of those other people in Oak Ridge that really need your help. Oak Ridge Children's Museum does a great job. So we need to give some gifts and do some stuff and help some people. Nonprofits operate in the county too.
Yes,
Right.
they do.
Annie at BedFact, there's just so many good places here that serve the county and the cities, Cachero and others. So, last words. You're the politician. I'm just a country boy. You know what I mean? Maybe the back way we got that backwards, but anything you want to say to the people?
Just I've really enjoyed the past year being on commission. I've learned a lot. I'm very excited to talk to the community. I love getting out in the community, talking with people, community meetings.
Yeah. You do a lot of work, yeah.
And so I'm excited about the next year and excited about.
You went through one whole budget process.
Absolutely.
I went through 11 or 12 of them. They're different, and it's different because you get new people on commission in 4 years, and maybe you're there, maybe you're something. You just see different people in different ways. We have a commission race in March. Though.
We actually do have a commission race.
District 6, where Aaron Wells was appointed. He'll have to run.
Yeah. Catherine Denenberg.
Catherine, she
left
moved to
us
Florida. Had to leave.
Moved to Florida. Yes, she was
great lady. Yeah.
Oh, amazing, amazing. I sat beside her in commission. Learned a lot. Sat beside her in budget.
And she had a hard time with her health getting there in the end. So it was. But she went out a winner, right? I mean, she was on top.
She did.
Number 1 in District 6.
Absolutely.
And that was basically it. All right, folks, get by the Gear Barn. It's Christmas time. Check out the stuff they have in the gear. Right, Fan Gear Barn? Yeah. I call it the Gear Barn. Fan Gear. Right across from the hospital, right there in Security Square. That needs to be done. I appreciate Oak Ridge Utility District and all the other sponsors. We're about done. Anything else we can think of? Anybody you want to say thanks to? Concrete Man.
Always my husband.
He's a great guy.
He is such a huge supporter, and I love him. And
we got to go. Thank you so much.